everyone, Cassius here, and welcome back to the final episode of the Villains Countdown. That's right, villain number 1.
How am I then a villain?
Iago in Othello is an exquisite villain, for reasons almost too many to name and perhaps none at all. He embarks on a mission to destroy the world around him. It's not about ruling. It's not about getting anything. It's about destruction and taking down the world that made him feel as jealous and as low as he did. In the beginning of this play, we see a disgruntled employee saying that, well, I was passed over for this promotion. Othello, who's an outsider himself, by the way, has plucked this young upstart Cassio and given him my rightful place as his lieutenant. Iago wanted the job as lieutenant, but he does not embark on a mission specifically to get that job, the way that lots of people try to get the throne or get a position they feel they've been denied. No. He instead decides to bring the entire infrastructure down. The fact that the world has turned up so against him, or at least that he believes it has turned him into an inveterate misogynist and racist. He thinks that everyone in the world has power that he doesn't, has lorded that power over him, and has wronged him in deep ways that he can't get over. He thinks that Othello not only has passed him over for this promotion, but has slept with his wife, Emilia, a claim that most people don't think is very substantiated in this play, and Emilia denies it outright, claiming that it is completely ridiculous, and even states this in front of Desdemona. I don't think she'd bring up the idea that Othello was sleeping around in front of Desdemona unless it was indeed patently ridiculous. So what does Iago do to bring this entire infrastructure down? Well, with his pawn, Rodrigo, who he cons into thinking that Desdemona might love him. She, of course, would not love the idiot Rodrigo. But with Rodrigo, Iago tries to first stop Othello's marriage by informing Desdemona's father of the recent nuptials. Desdemona's father, being a very powerful man, goes directly to the Duke saying, "My daughter's been stolen." That seems to be Iago's first plan, to disrupt Othello's happiness by pitting him against his father-in-law. Well, that doesn't quite work, because Othello's victories in battle and his fame are too much to get the Duke to heed Brabantio's pleas. Desdemona also denies that she was stolen away and says that she wanted to marry Othello, which makes things a little difficult for Iago at the beginning. But this guy keeps bouncing back. He decides that Cassio needs to be taken down as well as Othello, and famously embarks on his mission to make Othello believe that Cassio has slept with Desdemona.
Whilst this honest fool plies Desdemona to repair his fortunes, and she for him pleads strongly to the Moor, I'll pour this pestilence into his ear, that she repeals him for her body's lust, and by how much she strives to do him good, she shall undo her credit with the Moor.
Iago builds a mental universe where this adultery happened. He claims that there's no way it couldn't happen. He doesn't have proof. But Desdemona is a beautiful woman who must want someone else besides Othello, and he makes it so plausible that he himself believes it when he says to Othello, "Your wife has been cheating on you." And of course, by pinning it on Cassio, he takes down Cassio as well. No one is going to end this play happy, and the psychological torture he inflicts on Othello is incredible. In the beginning, Othello is this tower of strength and brilliance, and Iago knocks it down so beautifully and so tragically that by the end, Othello literally can't speak. He goes from this wonderfully poetic, brilliant man to someone who can't get a single word out. And that is what is so terrifying about Iago. He can make people the opposite of themselves. He can undo them. And in the process, he doesn't even seem to get anything out of it but the knowledge that those structures that he thinks wronged him are somehow weakened by this. It's not about gaining the position, although he does become lieutenant later on in the play, but it's about ruining others. And for that, he is absolutely terrifying. And the fact that he just gets inside individual people's heads, he doesn't let the outside world go crazy, he doesn't have to hire people to kill each other, he just sets them against each other in these beautiful ways and lets them do all the work for very little gain on his part. And that incredible combination skyrockets him to number 1. His crimes are psychological torture of the highest degree, and when push comes to shove, he will commit a little second-degree murder and attempted second-degree murder as well.
If Cassio do remain, he hath a daily beauty in his life that makes me ugly. And beside, he may unfold me to the moor. There stand I in much peril. No, he must die.
His motivations are famously all over the map. He seems to be so jealous that he thinks the entire world has been built to spite him. However, there's no indication that anyone hates him nearly as much as he hates himself or those around him. And because his motivations are built on sand, that is what has baffled critics for centuries and has baffled playgoers everywhere into not knowing what exactly this man's motivation is. He has even been called motiveless by many critics. And I think that it is undoubted that this self-conscious, hateful man is Shakespeare's number 1 villain. Happy Halloween, everyone, and see you back here soon for more Shakespeare goodness on the Shakespeare Minute. Till next time, I'm Cassius. Think of the world.
Work on, my medicine. Work. Thus credulous fools are caught, and many worthy and chaste dames, even thus, all guiltless, meet reproach.